Hi, my name is Emily and welcome to Secret Parents. In today's video, I'm super excited to share about a couple of things. So if you remember back from my last few videos, I've been sharing that I am currently in the process of designing and releasing a Daisy Granny Square blanket. And this is what the Granny Square looks like. And then what you do is you join all these Granny Squares together and make a blanket out of it. So, normally I design like amigurumi patterns, but because of this, designing this Daisy Granny Square and the blanket, I was in need of a blocking board. So a blocking board, basically all that it does is it helps your edges to be nice and straight, and also helps the main part of this to lay nice and flat and not be kind of wonky, and it just helps it to lay really nice and flat instead of wanting to go like this and be kind of, you can see this is, oh, there it goes. It lays really nice and flat versus kind of the wonky look. So I was in kind of desperate need of a blocking board because I am a part of a blog hop that I needed to send her the pictures by a really close deadline. So my dad and my brother made me this blocking board. And it worked well for that purpose, but I knew it wasn't a long-term solution because when you put the squares on, it would snag because they're wood, like wooden chopsticks skewers. They would snag as you put your squares down. And so I reached out to Chetnanigans and asked if they would be willing to send me a blocking board, and I just got it recently, and I tried blocking several of my new Granny Squares on them, and it is absolutely amazing. So this is the blocking board that I got. You can see it's really nice. So it has a really nice finish over top, so it's like a glossy finish, and then it has nice holes, so it's 1/2-inch holes, and then there's also some inch holes, and they have different variations on their website. So if you want all 1/2-inch or all just 1 inch, you can get all kinds of different variations. Check out Chetnanigans' website and use the code SweetCreek10 for 10% off their website. So let's go ahead and jump into how to block your Granny Squares with this blocking board, and I'm excited to share about it. So as you can see, I have my blocking board here, and what you're going to do to block your squares is you're going to put your long pin, and they also sent along some short pins. So if you are blocking less squares, like if you're stacking less squares on top of each other, these would work perfectly for that too. So there are options. So what you do is you grab your long pins or your short pins, and you're going to put it into whatever hole you want to start. So this is just the center or the corner one, so I'm going to just start there. And for me, my squares are about 4.5 inches wide, and so they're a 4.5-inch square. But you want to make sure that you're stretching them a little. So mine is a little bit less than 4.5 inches, so I want my squares to end up being 4.5 inches. And if you're using a pattern that's not mine, not this pattern, you'll want to kind of refer to your pattern and what size they want your squares to be in the end, so that you have the correct size blanket that the pattern has. So for me, that would be 4.5-inch squares. So these are 1/2-inch holes. So I'm going to count, that's 1/2-inch, 1 inch would be right here, then 1/2-inch, 2 inch, 1/2-inch, 3 inch, 1/2-inch, 4 inch, and then 4.5. So right here is where I'm going to put my next pin. And then you can count how many now between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 between. So then you're just going to count that down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the 9th one down is right there. So I'm just going to put my pin in there, and then I'm going to grab one more pin and count again the same amount over, which for me is kind of obvious because it's the farthest one over. As you can see, it's a nice square. And I'm sorry this angle looks like it's not a square, but it is a nice square. So now what you're going to do is you're going to put your unblocked square on. So you can see this is what my unblocked square looks like. And then this is what my final blocked square looks like. So you can see it's super nice and flat, and it has really nice sharp edges. Let me set this aside just for a second so you guys can do a really good comparison. So you can see that is the unblocked, and then this is the blocked. So one versus the other. So this one's a tiny bit bigger, and that's how it should be because you want to stretch it. If you're not stretching it, there's no purpose in having a blocking board. And then it also has super nice straight edges. And then this one, you can see, does not have as nice of straight edges. And you can also see it's kind of a little bit wonky. So there's like some lumps and bumps, whereas this one is laid just super nice and straight. And this is where I tied off. So if you're noticing that little bump, that's just a little bit, and that hides when you sew the two squares together. So that is what blocked looks like, and this is what unblocked looks like. So when we're going to block our squares, you're going to put this on. And by the way, I got these results just by simply using no water and just putting them on like this for about 12 hours. So I like to do this like in the evening, and then when I wake up in the morning, roughly, give or take a little bit, then the squares are done. So you can see here is our square, and all you're going to simply do is you're just going to find the corner, either stitch or space. So for me, I have a chain 1 between in my corner, so I'm just going to simply put it onto my pin, and then I'm going to find the other square or other corner, and I'm going to find the corner space, or you can find the stitch. These are really nice thin, and that's one of the other amazing benefits of Chetnanigans is the fact of how skinny and thin these are, so that if you were to put it on your stitch, it's not going to stretch out your stitch and make a really massive stitch. So you can see I just actually put it into the stitch, or you can just put it into the hole, whatever you prefer. So you can see it's nice, and you can see it's nice and tight there, and that's the goal. So now you're going to go down a little bit, there you go, so you guys can see, and you're going to grab the corner here, and then you're going to grab the corner here, and now it will lay like this, and you're just going to be able to push, oh, I bumped it. So then you're just going to push it down, and you can see it's nice and stretched, which is exactly what you want. And that is exactly what I did for these results. Now, if you wanted to, you can always use some more pins and do it along the edge. So let's say I want to do it here, and I find that the results really aren't different, but it does feel a little bit better. So if, like, it feels a little bit better to do that, and like you're not stretching your corners crazy much. So if you want to do that, you're welcome to. You can just count how many stitches over you're doing it roughly and do it the same for each time. There we go, like that. There you go. You can see I'm not doing exactly the right amount of stitches. So then what you can do is you can just stack these up. So you're going to find the corner stitch up here in the corner, and then find the other corner stitch, and then you're going to find about the same stitches that you used for this one, just so that for this first square, like that, and then you're going to find the other two corners. So this corner and this corner, like that, and then you're going to go through pins like that and just push it down. And for me, because I have the like the 3D petals, you can only push it down so far. Let me show you. Here you can see, this is how it looks, and I can only, here, let's see if we can focus it. There we go. So you can see I can only, first of all, you can see how nice and smooth and glossy this finish is. It's absolutely beautiful. But the other thing you can see is that I can only push it down that far. So there is a little bit of a separation, and that is naturally going to happen for all granny squares. It's just a little bit more for mine because you can see my petals are there. So you can push it down past that, but you have your petals. So if you do not have petals on your granny square, like a daisy that has some dimension to it, then you're going to be able to push them down a little bit further. Then what you're going to do is you just can keep doing that for all of your squares. So you can see I'm going to do this one. And it honestly is a super fun thing to do. Me and my sister had a lot of fun putting the like 60 or so squares that I've already done with this blocking board on. And then watching in the morning and seeing how beautiful they look all nice and blocked, and how beautifully they lay. So when you do this, they're going to end up, your whole blanket is going to end up looking super nice, and like it has nice corners for each of the squares. When you don't do that, your blanket's going to end up looking kind of wonky because one square is going to have, this side's going to be shorter, and then the other square is going to have to make it longer, and it's going to end up looking not like squares, and instead looking a little bit more like this. Then with this attached to it, you're trying to pull it over. It's just not going to look as nice and neat. So if you're a person like me that loves to have beautiful pieces to give your friends and family, you're definitely going to want a blocking board, and I highly recommend Chetnanigans for their beautiful craftsmanship, and I absolutely love using this. And then another advantage with Chetnanigans is how their back is actually felted. Let me show you. So you can see it actually has a nice felt, and there you can see. There you go. So it has this nice felt on the back, which makes it super handy to put on your desk, and you won't scratch it or anything like that. And they also sent along a stand, and you can upgrade to fancier stands, but this is the stand that they sent along, and it holds your blocking board really nicely. Another thing that they sent along, which I think is genius, is that when you have a lot of granny squares stacked on top of each other, which is a super handy feature of these blocking boards, you can add a perfector strip. So this is their smaller perfector strip, and then this is their large perfector strip. And simply all that these do is when you have a bunch going up, sometimes your pins can bend a little bit at the top, and you don't want that. You want the granny squares at the top to be the same width once they're blocked as the granny squares at the base of your blocking board. So all you do is you put your perfector strip onto these pins. So you just push it on like that, and then you find where each one is supposed to go, and it stretches them out just a little bit. So you can see with this one that's like that, and you just have to stretch out just a little bit to be the right length. And if I were to have these stacked even higher, you'd probably have it even more. So I think that is such a genius way. So then you can do it like on this angle too. It's such a genius way to be able to have your granny squares all be the exact same size, because in the end that's what you want. You want your granny squares to be all the nice exact same size and all turn out beautifully. So those are the advantages of blocking your board and how I do it. Now some people will wet their granny squares when they block it, and I found I had great results without getting my granny squares wet, but that is totally personal preference. So if you prefer to get your granny squares wet, you're welcome to do that. One thing that I would recommend is when you're using this board, it does have a nice finish to be nice and water resistant, but if you want to do a lot of blocking with wet items, you're going to want to get their other blocking board that is waterproof. So you won't ever ruin this wood, because this is beautiful wood you do not want to ruin. So that is another option for your blocking. So yeah, those are the advantages of blocking your granny squares, and also the advantages of using the Chetnanigans board. If you are at all interested in ordering a Chetnanigans board, make sure to check out their website. I'll put a link in the description box down below. And use my code SweetCreek10 to get 10% off your purchase of anything on their website. So make sure to use that code and be able to save a little bit of money. And if you want this as, I know Christmas is coming up, so if you want this as a Christmas gift for yourself, maybe you should text it to your husband or friend, and they would get it for you. So this is a wonderful blocking board and a wonderful way to make your granny squares nice and square. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for learning how to block your granny squares along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be releasing my Daisy Granny Square blanket and Daisy Granny Square pattern all on my YouTube channel very, very soon, so make sure you subscribe for that. And also don't forget to check out Chetnanigans website and use the code SweetCreek10 for 10% off their website. And I know that you'll love their blocking boards as much as I do. I'm loving using it, and I know you will too. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!